Cooking is supposed to be one of the skills that form the basic syllabus of skills children get from their parents when growing up. So your entry level would be the morning meals, a popular dish children love or just a snack that they love to have. You just make sure it does not have many ingredients that might confuse them, or require measurement of ingredients unless you are going to do those for them. Whether you are teaching your children how to cook, or just looking for ways to maximize your own time in the kitchen, use these tips to help with meal preparation. Creating delicious and nutritious meals for yourself and your family can be made easier and fun for everyone who is included in the cooking process. When you are making homemade soups that contain meat, they tend to have a lot of fat that needs to be skimmed from the top. One quick solution to that problem is dropping in a couple of ice cubes. As the ice melts, the fat will stiffen around it and you will be able to remove it with ease. You need to always season fish and meats as evenly as possible. Sprinkle seasoning like salt and pepper gingerly through the tips of your fingers as if they are snowflakes. This way, the grains don't get clumped together and the meats don't wind up without any seasoning in a few areas and too much in others. To keep your burgers flat, indent the middle of the burger with your thumb, nearly leaving a hole, before frying or grilling the patties. As the meat draws up and shrinks while cooking, the indentation will close itself, leaving you with flat burgers instead of small patties with extra thick middles. Slice garlic when you sauté it. Many people mince garlic. If you plan to sauté it in a pan, this might not be the best idea. When you sauté minced garlic, it is likely to burn. If you cut the garlic into slices, it cooks more thoroughly and without burning. When sautéing ingredients in a frying pan, ensure that you don't overcrowd the pan with too much food. Trying to cook too much at once will only lower the temperature of the pan and lead to steaming instead of browning. It is wiser to sauté the ingredients in 2 separate batches, if necessary, and this will maintain the quality of cooking. When you are adding food to a slow cooker, make sure that you add tender vegetables like mushrooms, peas, fish, and squash during the final half hour. This is important because adding them too early will cause them to disappear into the dish. You will be able to taste them, but you might not be able to see them. To keep your knife from dragging and making a mess of ice cream cake or cheesecake, run it under hot water or dip it into a nearby bowl, and wipe it with a tea towel. The hot water heats the blade, enabling the knife to glide through the cake, which results in nice, even slices. Season meats evenly. It is important to season all of the meats you are going to be cooking evenly. Sprinkle the seasoning lightly over the meat like it was snowing down. This will keep the seasoning even and prevent clumping. The taste will be more consistent all through it. Leverage some or all of the tips in this article to help you prepare great meals for your family. Whether you are cooking a quick meal after a long day or a large meal for guests, use the tips provided in this article to best leverage your time and ingredients in the kitchen. You will discover that your cooking has been made much easier as you follow these cooking tips and hacks. Buy your food at fresh markets. The food you buy from farmer markets and private gardens is going to be healthier for you. These foods are often free of the harmful chemicals that infect our mainstream grocery supply. Look out for the health of yourself and your family, and your cooking will automatically be better. To avoid wasting chipotle peppers when you need only a couple from a can, puree the remaining peppers and adobo in a blender or food processor. Then transfer the puree to an ice cube tray lined with plastic wrap and place it in the freezer. When the puree is frozen, move the cubes to a freezer bag. You can use the chipotle cubes in soups, sauces, taco meat and more. Avoid dry sandwiches by making sure the spread reaches every corner of the bread. Whether it's mayonnaise or a cucumber cream cheese spread, it rids the sandwich of the dry taste of bread, meat and cheese. A quick dollop in the middle leaves only a well-moistured middle and less flavored and prepared edges. Tinfoil is indispensable for campfire cooking. You can make hobo meals either at the campsite or before you ever leave home. Just lay a serving of your meat of choice in the middle of a large square of aluminum foil. Garnish it with some cubed potatoes, onions, celery or whatever vegetables you like. Fold the tinfoil around the packet of food and cook it right on the coals. When baking or roasting, use olive oil to seal the outside of meats so that juices are less likely to escape during the cooking process. Be sure and cover both sides of the meat that you are cooking before seasoning. The olive oil will coat it nicely and also add some flavor. When shaving vegetables for dishes such as a vinaigrette or a salad, use a coarse microplane, also known as a grater or zester, to grate them into smaller pieces. The flavors of the vegetables are truly unlocked when grated with the microplane. When you learn to cook for yourself, do not be afraid of cooking in large batches. The freezer becomes your friend once you are making your own meals. Surplus food that you prepare, but will not use immediately, can be stored almost indefinitely in your freezer. Cooking in large batches is the best way to maximize the utility of your cooking time. Food and family are almost synonymous. Whether it's the holidays, or just the evening meal, it is a wonderful thing to see the return of the home cook. The shared act of cooking a meal can only strengthen our families and improve our overall health in this society. Using fresh ingredients can greatly improve the flavor in one's cooking. The freshest ingredients possible can add a richness and new level of flavor to an old favorite or whatever one is going to be cooking. If one wants to make a salad, then they should obtain the ingredients the day that they are going to make it to ensure freshness. When working with hot peppers, wear gloves and, as an extra precaution, safety glasses. The veins and seeds hold the heat of the peppers. If you try removing them with your fingers, the heat-bearing capsaicin will transfer to your fingers, resulting in a burning feeling. If you touch your eyes, you will be in serious pain. Think about buying large beef roasts or pork shoulders to make during one of your weekend nights. After you have this for dinner, store it in your fridge so that you will be able to create many different types of sandwiches as the week progresses. Maximize your value and limit your expenses by conserving food. While you are cooking, it is important to be passionate and interested in what you are doing. With cooking, the taste you get out of your food isn't only linearly connected to the effort put in, it's exponential. If you don't put effort into your food while cooking it, you will get something you don't even want to eat or feed to anyone. Save sauces in ice cube trays. If you make several meals during a week, consider saving sauces from them in ice cube trays. This will allow you to add some interesting variety to any dishes you might be making later in the week. It will also make the process simple. When you are cooking meat and adding seasoning to it, use an even sprinkling gesture to apply the seasoning. You should season from a decent height and aim to produce an even, snowfall effect. Executed properly, this technique ensures consistent coverage and avoids leaving over-seasoned clumps or seasoning-free areas on the meat. You should always use a sharp knife. Contrary to popular belief, using sharp knives is far safer than using dull ones. Because more force is needed to cut with a dull knife, users are much more likely to lose control of it, and that can cause accidental cuts. Sharp knives are also more efficient and faster to work with. If you are making a dish where you will need thin strips of meat, fajitas, Chinese, freeze your meat for about 20 minutes before cutting. This will allow you to slice the meat very thinly with ease. You may think this sounds a little strange, but it will definitely do the trick. Buy some parchment paper at the grocery store, and use it to line your pans when you bake. It will make all of your baked creations very easy to remove. And cleanup will no longer be a nuisance since there will be no stray batter or crust to scrape off of your cookware. As mentioned earlier in this article, creating delicious and nutritious meals can be simple, fun and quick. Using the tips provided, get the most out of your time cooking. Whether preparing a wholesome dish for yourself or a full holiday meal for your entire family. Use some of these tips to garner rave reviews from your guests for your creative kitchen creations. To make sure you make a lasting impression on your audience, let your cookware make the final statement about your cooking abilities. Browse through this wonderful, exquisite range of cookware in the description below. And please be blessed.